How you doing? I'm back. I'm like a wart you can't get rid of. Thank you. I am so honored to be in Murfreesboro. I fell in love with Murfreesboro about, how long has it been, Tia? 20-something? Oh, this is happening, people.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah, I met some great Lao folks here that took me in like family. And then I found out Kara was here, and she took me in and shares Tony with me. I'm a lucky guy. So anyway, here I am, and I coach the storytellers, and let's give all the storytellers a big round of applause. I'm a proud papa, and this is Gracie.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Gracie's gonna be cutting my hair, so just give us a second. And hey, you drunkards by the bar, hush up again, or I'm gonna sit Corey on you. That's my teacher face. So if you take it off the ears, and it's been so hot down here, if you could get the hair off my neck.
Absolutely.
I've been wearing this bang like this since the 80s.
Okay, so we gotta keep it, right?
Keep it. It's part of my trademark.
You can't get rid of it,
No,
right?
no way.
I mean, it's been here since the 80s. Come on.
Right. So I'm really not picky as a client, Gracie.
As
so
you shouldn't be.
Don't worry about it. But if you could make me look 15 years younger and about 20 pounds lighter, I'd appreciate it.
I will do my best.
No pressure. No pressure at all. Okay. Grace under pressure. Gracie under pressure.
It's when I work my best, for sure. Under pressure.
And I'll tell you, my pressure is I'm a dancer by trade. And for me to sit still, and if you knew my family, if you tied their hands down, they couldn't talk. So I'm going to try to sit still, Gracie. Grace, under pressure.
Well, I'll try to sit still, too.
Okay.
It's a little hard for me, too. So.
Oh, Lord, I don't dance as much as I used to, but it makes me think of an old friend of mine. She had this mantra: if you do not dance, you will become moldy.
Moldy? Hold on, moldy?
Moldy, like an old piece of bread, moldy.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like if you sit still, she had it on posters and postcards and T-shirts and everything.
Okay.
So
Okay.
try to remember that, you all, if you do not
Well,
dance.
he won't be moldy when he leaves here tonight, guys.
Yay. Oh, Gracie.
Tell me about it.
Oh, she's got the clippers out. I bet you hear a lot of stories from clients sitting in your chair.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you wouldn't believe, Mark. You wouldn't believe.
Well, I'm going to tell you this one, and I hope you all get a blessing from it. So I find myself standing in this hallway at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville Student Union Building. I am waiting to go on stage. And as a performer, it doesn't matter if it's a big stage or a small stage or Main Street music, I get really nervous. I have this moment where there's this inner voice that says you're gonna fail, they won't like you, it's gonna be disastrous. And woven along with that like a complicated curly hairdo is the possibility of sheer joy, of big magic, of pouring myself out and you applauding and showing me love.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive.
I'm standing in that hallway with a dance company I helped put together with some friends of mine. Wendy Nash is here tonight. She was one of those friends. And it's this community-based dance company, not your regular dance company. It's made up of professional dancers, amateurs, and people of all shapes, sizes, ages, and abilities. And we're waiting to go on stage. Now, as a community-based dance company, we got a lot of unusual requests, a lot of unusual gigs. And this was a request to create a specific dance for a conference on eating disorders. Now, it sounds weird for a dance company to do a dance about eating disorders, but if you know anybody in the dance world, it's not that unusual. I myself am a survivor of anorexia. And you may not be able to tell under this cape, but I've made a full recovery. If you want to participate in my recovery by taking me down to the alley, they have a mean chicken salad sandwich. So we're waiting to go on stage, and the speaker in front of us keeps talking. She's going long. And the deal was we were promised time to space the dance on stage, to warm up. And the more that speaker keeps talking, the more anxious I feel the dancer's getting, and the more nervous I get. Grace, how you doing, Gracie? Grace under pressure. I'm waiting to go on stage, and finally the coordinator of the conference pops her head out and she says, "Mr. Lamb, I'm afraid that we're running a little bit long, so if you all could just take the stage and start your dance, that would help us catch up." And I smile real big. Grace under pressure. Pretend I'm nodding my head yes. And I say to the dancers, you know, being a nonprofit, you have to think quick on your feet. Let's spread out in the hallway. Let's just start doing the warm-up right here. And right when we're about to take our first plie, students come pouring out from every door imaginable. It is a crush of people like Times Square after the theaters have let out, and I can't breathe. It's lunchtime at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So I gather the dancers over into a corner. We're huddled together, and I'm thinking, what are we gonna do? Gracie, you doing all right? Grace under pressure.
Under pressure.
And I say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Everybody just introduce yourselves when we take the stage, and we'll warm up while we're introducing ourselves. And everybody thinks, well, this is good. We'll just eat up time and get our bodies warm and ready to dance. But then there was this one dancer that piped up. Everyone agreed except that one dancer, Deirdre. Deirdre was the kind of person that was like a sand in the oyster. She either got spit out, and oftentimes she did, or she made a pearl. She had this strong social activist voice that always spoke up and spoke out. And she said, "I'm afraid they won't understand me." Watch the bang.
I've got you. You're in good hands.
She sounded more like this, though, and please forgive the impression. I'm just trying to give you my truth, but she sounded more like, "I'm afraid they won't understand me." See, Deirdre was in the early stages of Lou Gehrig's disease. And the first thing that disease attacked was that strong social activist voice. Well, this militant feminist professional dancer pipes up and she says, "Well, we understand you. We'll just repeat back what you have to say." I mean, we'd gone through this process with her. We understood her voice, and we all agreed, and that would be fine. And finally, we take the stage and we spread out and we start doing our warm-up, and the dancers start to introduce themselves. And I'm going to tell you a few of them, just ones that I remember off the top of my head. Let's see, there was Thomas. At one point in Thomas's life, he stood up on a tall building and thought that he could fly. But when he woke up, his body was broken. But with Circle Modern Dance, our little community-based dance company over in Knoxville, he glided on wheels. And there were times in dances where all these dancers would surround him and lift him up into the air, and he would say, "My name is Thomas, and I can fly." And then there was Miss Fran. Oh, she was a lady of a certain age. She never told me her age, but she came to us with a cloud of white hair. She had dreamed of being a dancer, even moved to New York when she was a young woman and danced with Martha Graham, or tried to. She got missing her East Tennessee mountain home and moved back, married a doctor, had an in-ground pool and all out west. She became a socialite. And then in the last years of her life, she lived out her dream. She was probably in her 70s. Forgive me, Miss Fran. She lived out her dream as a dancer. And then there was Deirdre. My name is Deirdre. And we repeated back, "Hi, my name is Deirdre. And I have Lou Gehrig's disease. And I have Lou Gehrig's disease. And I'm losing my voice. And I'm losing my voice. But I can still wiggle. But I can still wiggle." And we shaked off the mold from our bodies, and we did a Deirdre wiggle dance all together. And I looked out into the audience, and oh, I had been so nervous. We hadn't taken one step of that choreographed dance, and already people in the audience were laughing and crying. Deirdre had created a pearl.
Yay!
Like a beautiful curly hairdo.
It's just us.
It's just us, Gracie. No pressure.
No pressure.
And then we surrounded Christian. We were going to tell Christian's story because Christian too had survived an eating disorder. So we made a dance about her and her journey, about her body being nourished, being poured into, being filled out, and how she was growing a new life. Christian was pregnant, and we took all our broken parts and strengths and weaknesses, and we supported her in that story dance.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
And we moved over,
Take these sunken eyes and learn to see
around,
all your life.
and through.
You were only waiting for this moment to be free.
And not long after we performed that dance, Christian had a baby. And she named that little human being Raven.
Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night.
And Raven grew into this unique little child. She was the kind of kid that showed up to one of my performances. She was probably 8 or 9, with what looked like mold on the top of her head. Oh, Gracie, it was a bad green acrylic wig.
No.
White makeup, black lipstick. Oh, no. God, I love that kid. And Raven continued to grow into a teenager that developed this strong social activist voice. And she rages on, sometimes getting spit out and oftentimes creating a pearl. And as for Deirdre, she kept using our voice after we performed that dance for about a year. She used our voice and her voice to raise awareness of Lou Gehrig's disease. This was long before the Ice Bucket Challenge. It wasn't as vogue back then. And then Deirdre passed away. But tonight, I think Deirdre would like to use my voice again to remind you all of something that she had written on t-shirts and postcards and posters. She even had it etched on her coffin. And if you happen to be in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you go to the graveyard across from Dancer's studio, you might come across a gravestone, and on it is written this: if you do not dance, you will become moldy. Thank you.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.